In this video, I'm going to give you some preview sample problems from your quiz 5 on biconditionals. Let's get into it. Here is the batch of sample problems for quiz 5. All right, so these numbers won't necessarily correspond to what they actually are on the quiz. So 2 of the translations, 1 translation to a proof. It's a big one, but I'm doing it here to show you how to do it. And then also just a plain old proof where we don't have to translate. The first one, Vanessa is going to the party just in case Madison goes, and if Gabrielle goes, then Alexis should be coming too. But if Alexis isn't going, then Gabrielle definitely won't go. Got that? We've also got, if it's a shape, then it's a circle exactly if it's round. Then we have this monstrosity. Winter is coming. If King Robert Baratheon is the rightful king of Westeros, then the Targaryens have no easy claim to the throne, if and only if all the Targaryens are dead. The Targaryens don't have an easy claim to the throne, but not all the Targaryens are dead. Daenerys Stormborn's being alive is a necessary condition for Robert Baratheon not to be the rightful king of Westeros. Jon Snow is sad. Therefore, King Robert Baratheon is not the rightful king of Westeros, just in case Daenerys Stormborn is alive. Moreover, Jon Snow is sad. Nevertheless, winter is coming. And then finally, we have the following proof, just this. E double arrow G, G double arrow F, solve for E double arrow F. So, again, when I break them down here, the way that it transfers over, the letters and stuff don't quite look right. But here, what I've got right now, what you see on the page, is exactly how these are going to appear on the quiz. You'll notice, for example, notice here the giant semicolon. That means, hey, parentheses or brackets are needed here. Okay, tinier semicolons, look around and see. Is there multiple stuff around? Then it needs to be grouped together. All right, so that's why this stuff is this way. Let's take a look at the first one here from the quiz. So, Vanessa is going to the party just in case. What does that mean? Oh, double arrow. She's going to the party just in case. So I'm going to draw a double arrow right over that because that's what just in case means. Madison goes, comma, which means this is its own thing here. And if Gabrielle goes, that means there's an arrow here, then Alexis should be coming too. But if Alexis isn't going, so that's going to be a squiggle there, then Gabrielle definitely won't, there's a negation, go. So let's do it. So Vanessa is going to the party just in case Madison goes. And, which means that and is here, that goes together. And if Gabrielle goes, then Alexis should be coming too. That's its own thing. But if, so here's an arrow, if Alexis isn't going, then Gabrielle won't go. Is it dyadic? Nope. It's triadic. Look, we got this and this and this. So 3 parts. But look, it's actually all connected by ands. So what we need to do is we need to do some grouping around this, but it doesn't matter what we do. So we can put brackets here and here. Is this dyadic? Yeah, we got a left and a right. That's fine. We could also just as easily put them here and here. And this is just as fine too, and just as correct, because now we have a left and a right. Because since it's all ands, it doesn't matter where we put the grouping mechanisms. This one says, if it's a shape, and then it's got a semicolon here, which means that's a break. Stuff needs to be grouped. So, is there multiple stuff on the left? No. Is there multiple stuff on the right? Yeah, 2 things. That means parentheses are going to be here, definitely. That's what that semicolon means. If it's a shape, so there's an arrow in here, then it's a circle exactly if. Exactly if is a double arrow. Circle exactly if it's round. So what does that mean? If it's a shape, that goes on the left side of the arrow, then, grouping mechanism, it's a circle exactly if it's round. Alright, let's take a look at this lengthy problem. Winter is coming. So I'm actually going to go ahead, I know this is going to take a lot of space, so I'm going to go ahead and split this into 2 halves. I know I'm going to need that screen space. So line 1. Winter is coming. Just that. That's assumption number 1. Assumption number 2, and I see that here. Winter is coming. Line 2, if. That means there's an arrow. If King Robert Baratheon is the rightful king of Westeros, and that semicolon there means there's a separation here. If there's multiple stuff here that goes together, and it does, that means there's an arrow. On the left side of the arrow is just Robert Baratheon is the rightful king of Westeros. More stuff. Then what? The Targaryens have no easy claim to the throne. Easy claim. If and only if, what does that mean? Double arrow. If and only if all the Targaryens are dead. Assumption number 2. The Targaryens don't, that's a negation there, have an easy claim to the throne, but, that means and, not all of the Targaryens are dead. So they don't have an easy claim to the throne, but they're not all dead. That not, there's a negation there too. That's assumption number 3. Assumption number 4. Daenerys Stormborn's being alive is a necessary condition. Necessary condition means it goes on the right side of an arrow. So her being alive goes on the right side of an arrow for what? Robert Baratheon to not be the rightful king. Robert Baratheon is not the rightful king. Assumption number 4. Jon Snow is sad. That's just J. Let's take a look at the conclusion here of this. Robert Baratheon is not the rightful king of Westeros, just in case. Hey, that means double arrow. Daenerys Stormborn is alive, just in case. So double arrow that. And there's a semicolon saying, hey, there's some more to be added to this. Moreover, and Jon Snow is sad. And then it says, nevertheless, in the original version, if you look at it the way it's going to be on the quiz, there's a giant semicolon here, which means all this stuff goes together. Nevertheless, which means and, winter is coming. Do we have any arrows not in parentheses? Yep, we sure do. Left side matches? Nope. Do we have any double arrows not in parentheses? There is a double arrow, it's in parentheses. Do we need dots not in parentheses? Yes. That gets us these 2 things, 6 and 7. Squiggle C, squiggle D, and out line 3 for both. So here, can we do an arrow out? No. Double arrow out? No. And out? No. And in, double negation? Doesn't go anywhere. Is our goal an arrow? No, our goal is an and. So the last move of this problem is going to be an and in. Now take a look at this. See what we need to make. Do we have this stuff? No. Do we have a W? Yes. Alright, so that's good. We're 50% there. Let's zoom into this now. So for this, do we have squiggle R, double arrow S, and J? Do we have the J? Yeah. Do we have the squiggle R, double arrow S? No, we do not. Do we have the J though? Yeah. We don't have the squiggle R, double arrow S. What would we need to make that? Squiggle R, double arrow S. We need 2 things. We would need squiggle R, arrow S, and we would need also S, arrow, squiggle R. Do we have either one of those? Yeah, we have squiggle R, arrow S in line 4. We don't have S, arrow, squiggle R though. So this is what we need to work on. So let's actually do that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go line 8. We're going to start a side quest. We're going to say, hey, let's provisionally assume S. And what we're going to want to get is squiggle R. With this S in play, can we do anything? Arrow out? No. Motor stones? No. Keep going down the list. No, 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 no. So what's our goal at the moment? Our goal at the moment is squiggle R. So what do we need to do? Start another side quest. That's an indirect proof. So we need to get squiggle R. So here's what we're going to do. In line 9, we're going to provisionally assume just plain old R, provisional assumption, and our goal is to get any contradiction. If we can do that, we can prove that squiggle R is a thing. Let's do it. Now with this R in play, can we do an arrow out? Yeah. Line 2 and line 9. What does that get us in line 10? And here we're still in the subproof. We're in a side quest. In line 10, that gets us now this double arrow released from the parentheses. Squiggle C, arrow D. How so? Arrow out, 2 and 9. What should we do with this double arrow? Break it down. Squiggle C, arrow D, and D arrow, squiggle C. Double arrow out. A line 10 for both. We got 2 arrows here. These are fresh. Can we do an arrow out on either one of them? Yes. Look, we got this squiggle C, arrow D. We have this squiggle C over here. So what does that allow us to get in line 13? D. Arrow out. The arrow is in line 11. Its squiggle match was in line way back in line 6. And look now, do we have 2 opposites, 2 contraries? We do. D and squiggle D. So look, we put them together. Line 14, we say D and squiggle D. And in 13 and 7. This means what we started here in line 9, it keeps going to line 14. We can zoom out and we can say, hey, in line 15, the thing that we were trying to get, okay, remember, we were trying to get squiggle R. And our mission was we can get squiggle R is if we provisionally assume R and we get a contradiction. We did that, which means squiggle R is a thing. How so? Indirect proof, 9 through 14. Now, hey, the squiggle R was actually something we were trying to get way back in line 8 with a conditional proof, which means 8 to 15 allows us to zoom out and say in an arrow, hey, S arrow squiggle R, arrow in 8 through 15. Remember what we're trying to build. We're trying to build this big thing here. Look, now we have the thing, we had the squiggle R arrow S since the beginning. Now we've got S arrow squiggle R. What can we do with that? Double arrow it in. Look, line 17. We get squiggle R, double arrow S. How so? Double arrow in. Two things. Line 4, line 16. And then what do we do with this? We want to adjoin it with J. So line 18. This thing, squiggle R, double arrow S, and J. And in 17, whether you guys can see it, I think my face is going to be blocking this here, but it's 17. Where was that J? Way back in line 5. And then finally, line 19, we can take this thing, squiggle R, double arrow S, and J. And we could say that and W. How so? And in, and my face is probably blocking it, think about it, and in the thing we just got in line 18, and where was that W? Way back in line 1. The problem now is done. Final problem from quiz 5, it's just a proof. Let's see, let's go through the list. Arrow out, no. So modus tollens, no. Do we have double arrows? Yes. What should we do with both of these? Break them down. So that's what we're going to do. Let's break down the first one. We could do the second one first, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one. That gets us E arrow G and G arrow E. That's double arrow out on line 1 for both. We do arrow out now? Nope. So let's go ahead and break down the second one. 5, line 6, we get G arrow F and F arrow G. Double arrow out on line 2 for both. Can we do some arrow outs? No. Modus tollens? No. Double arrow outs. We can do some double arrow ins, but it only gets us what we already have. And outs, no. And in, no. Double negation, no. But look at our goal. Our goal is a double arrow, which means we're probably going to do, in fact, we're definitely going to do a double arrow in. So what two things do we need to make that? We need E arrow F, and we need F arrow E. Get these two things, we're good. And we can just double arrow them in. So let's do it. Let's start with this one. Let's provisionally assume the left here, and get the right. So line 7, let's provisionally assume E, and let's seek F. Okay, with E in play, can we do an arrow out? Yeah. We get G. Arrow out, 3 and 7. The G in play. Now look, we have two options. We can get E again. Well, let's not do that. Let's get F. That's the thing we're after. So line 9, we get F. Arrow out, 5 and 8. Side quest complete. We can zoom out and say line 10, hey, we get E arrow F. That's the thing. Arrow in, 7 through 9. This one checks out. So we're halfway to getting this E double arrow F. Let's do the other one. For this other one, we want to provisionally assume F and get E. Let's do it. So we zoom in, line 11. We're going to provisionally assume F with the goal of getting E. Okay, so remember, this stuff is off limits. Like we already got F. No, it's off limits. It was on its own separate side quest. Let's do F now. Can we do an arrow out? Yep, we get G. Arrow out, 6 and 11. With G, we can get F again. We don't need to do that. Let's get E. And so arrow out, we're able to get through 4 and 12. We're able to get E. There it is. So in line 14, we can say, hey, F arrow E is a thing. That's fine. We can stick an arrow in there. Where did that process start? On 11. Where do we finish it? Line 13. And in line 15, look, this thing and this thing, we can just double arrow it in and get E double arrow F. Double arrow in 10 and 14. And this is indicative of the kinds of problems you'll have on quiz 5. So not only does this conclude this particular video on some sample problems for your Quiz 5, but this also concludes the module on negations. What I'm going to do in the next series of videos is introduce the notion of disjunctions. See you next time.